Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Nedarim, Membet Amudale 42A1 says the Mishnah, Hamudar Hanaa Mechavero Lifne Shevi'it. Imagine right now the Mishnah is coming and saying that you're going to make a Mudar Hanaa from your friend before Shevi'it, which means in the time that it's not Shemitah yet. Okay? Eno Yored L'Toch Sadeu. So now what happens is that you're not allowed to go into his field, right? Because at the end of the Veno Ochel Min Hanatot, you're not allowed to eat from the different plants or trees which are coming up. That means even though he doesn't have to actually go into the field in order to eat it, nevertheless it's a Sur B'Nechasav. So therefore it's going to be prohibited. With Shvi'it, now what about during Shemitah? So one more time. Before Shemitah, right, you came and you made this neder. So now, during the years before Shemitah, you're not allowed to go into his field, okay? Just like we said above, you're not allowed to go into his field, and you're not allowed to eat from the notot. Notot are fruits which they come outside of the field, okay? Now, even though I don't have to actually go inside of his field, I'm still not allowed to benefit from those fruits, okay? Uva shvi'it. Now, what about during Shvi'it, which is during Shemitah? It's hefker. Eno yoreh letoch sadeo. I'm not allowed to go into his field, but ochel min hanotot, he's allowed to eat from the fruits which come on the outside. So one more time. Before Shemitah, I come and I say, I'm not allowed to benefit from Mr. John Doe. No, what was the name? John Doe. John Doe. Yeah, so what happens? I cannot go into his field, and I'm not allowed to eat from the fruits which stick outside of his field. Right? He's got a tree. The part of it is on the outside. All I do is walk by, boom, pluck an apple. I'm not allowed to. However, though, during Shemitah, again, I'm not allowed to go into his field, but I'm allowed to come and pluck off the fruits which are on the outside. If you came and you made a neder to do with food, yeah, so nadar menu ma'achal lifne shevi'it, before shevi'it, yorel letoch sadeu. Yeah, you're going to come and you're going to go into his field. Okay, ve'eno ochel min haperot, and you're not going to eat from the fruits. Uva shvi'it, and during shvi'it, yored ve'ochel. You're going to go and you're going to eat from the fruits. Okay? Again, one more time. As the Gemara, Rav Shmuel Damni Tarvayu, Rav and Shmuel both said, Nechasim elu alecha. Imagine a person comes and he says, right, these properties are prohibited to you ba'ana. So again, now it's not I'm prohibiting myself. I come and I say, these properties are prohibited on you. Okay, for hana. Lifne shvi, if it's going to be before Shemitah, en yoreh letoch sadeu, ve'en ochel min hanotot. He's not allowed to do nothing. Not allowed to come into my field, and he's not allowed to eat from the notot. Again, we're talking about hana. Af al pi she'igia shvi'it, even though now it comes to shvi'it, which means that now they're hefker. Once the neder was chal, so it's going to be chal even on Shavuot. Ve'im b'shvi'it nadar, but if he did it during Shavuot, en yoreh l'sos sadeu, he's not allowed to go into his field. Aval ochel min hanotot. He is going to come and eat from the notot. Why? Because I cannot prohibit unto you something which is hefker. Notot is the fruits which are coming on the outside of the field, right? I cannot prohibit unto you something which is hefker, right? This was hefker. I can't prohibit to you something which is hefker. It's not mine. Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish both say, Nechasai alecha. If the Madir comes and he says that the properties are going to be prohibited to you, my properties to you, but he said Nechasim elu alecha. Now he says Nechasai alecha. So now lifnei Shevi'it, before Shemitah, and you're not allowed to eat, go into the field, you're not allowed to eat from the fruits. Higia Shvi'it, once it comes Shvi'it, but he is allowed to eat from the notot because they are hefker. So when he said nechasai alecha,
זה כל הזמן.
עוד פעם?
זה כל הזמן, זה ציבורי.
בציבור או בשטח שלו אישי? נגיד סתם דוגמה, הוא שכן שלו, נכון?
כן.
וגודל עץ של הנודר. אז הענפים הולכים לחצר שלו או לציבור, לשטח הרבים?
אז פה הוא אומר, אוכל את הנוטות, למה בגלל זה הפקר?
זה לציבור, לרבים.
כן. ברגע שיוצא מהבית שלו, גם אם זה לשכן, זה כבר או לשכן, ואם זה לא...
אבל אם הוא מודר מחוסר הענה,
זה לא משנה, זה יצא מהזה שלו.
Right, but let's say, but no, but here it's considered הפקר. Because here it's considered הפקר. Okay? Fine. So it comes out that according to the Gemara until now, the Machloket Amoraim is explanation of the Mishnah. According to Rav and Shmuel, the Kavanah of the Mishnah is before Shavuot, and Shavuot is only on Zman Neder, because if he made the Neder before Shavuot, it's going to be a Sur, Beperot, even if it came in the time of Shavuot. And if he made the Neder during Shavuot in itself, he's going to be Mutar Beperot. And according to Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish, Kavanat Mishnah is during the time of the Achila in itself. Okay, so do we say is it going to be during the time of the Neder, right? Or is it going to be during the time of the Achila in itself? Okay, so Leima Ba'akami Palgeh, why don't we just say that this is the Machloka between them? Rav Shmuel Samre, Rav and Shmuel holds, Adam said, a person is allowed to prohibit something which is in his reshut, even after it leaves his reshut. Which means, remember, right now, during the time that is before Shemitah, everything is in his reshut, everything is in his reshut. All of a sudden now it leaves his reshut. Why does it leave his reshut? Because now it became Shemitah. Now it's not in his reshut anymore, because it becomes Hefker. According to Rav and Shmuel, they hold that the fact that I could prohibit it when it's in my reshut, even after it leaves my reshut, I'm allowed to come. My reshut is my property or my possession. I'm still allowed to prohibit it. Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish, according to the Shakish and Rabbi Yochanan, they hold right that you cannot. Right, that's what we wanted to say. So says the Gemara, the Tizbira. Do you think that's logical to say such a thing? Mi ika lemanda amar. Are you going to tell me that there's, according to the Manda Amar, en adam oser davar shebishuto l'chiyetze mishuto? Does there even exist? Right? Do you really think that there's a Manda Amar, right, that holds, right, that en adam oser davar shebishuto l'chiyetze mishuto, that you cannot prohibit something after it already left your possession? In ken, if so, nifligu b'nechasim elu v'chol shekem b'nechasai. Did you pay attention that there was a machlok between Rav and Shmuel? Rav and Shmuel spoke about nechasim elu alecha. These properties are prohibited to you. Rabbi Yochanan Ashaki says, nechasai alecha, my properties to you. So if you're going to tell me that this is the explanation, so why don't you just say that the machloka between everybody is nechasim elu alecha? And koshekem, when you say nechasai alecha, right, that it's going to be that it's all the time that they're going to be his, right, that it's not going to be a sur once they go out of his reshut. So why is that Rabbi Yochanan Ashaki spoke about nechasai alecha and not nechasim elu alecha? Because nechasai alecha is mashma, my properties to you. Nechasim elu are these properties. That means even though it left my reshut, it's still prohibited to you. V'tu, and furthermore, hatzanan, we learned in the Mishnah, a person can prohibit something that's in his reshut, and then afterwards leaves his reshut. A person could prohibit it. How do we see that? Titzram, we learned in the Mishnah. Imagine a person comes and he tells a son, kunam shatana eneli. He's not allowed to benefit from it. He prohibits on his son from benefiting from him. And then what happens? Met. The father dies. So it says over there in the Gemara, Yirashenu, right? He's allowed to come and he's allowed to have the Yerusha. Right? Why? Because he's not benefiting from the father. Right? He's benefiting from the Yerusha. Right? He's benefiting from the Yerusha. He's benefiting from the Yerusha. Right? He's benefiting from the Yerusha that the Torah was mizakeh oto. Okay? Now says the Gemara, Bechayav uvmoto. However, though the son, when we're talking about now, whether he's alive or whether he's dead, okay, membet amubet, 42b. Imet lo yirashen. Now, if he comes and he added on the word, meaning the father comes and he says that he doesn't want him to benefit not during his lifetime and not after death as well. Meaning he comes and he added in the word after death.
I don't want you to inherit from him.
Yeah, imet lo yirashem. He's not allowed to inherit him. That means if the father said achar moto also, that's it. He doesn't get the Yerusha. So therefore, it's different over here. The ka'amarle, because he said bechayav moto. That means here he says it's completely different halacha, because the fact that he said during the lifetime and after death, it's a different halacha. Okay. Says the Gemara. Gemara. But nevertheless, you have a question. But rather he comes and he says, when it says the words nechasim elu, according to everybody, you're not arguing. Ki plige, when are you arguing? Benechasai, in my properties. Okay, because when you say benechasai in my properties, Rav Shmuel Savre and Rav Shmuel hold lo shna nechasim elu lo shna nechasai. There's no difference between these properties and my properties. Adam Oser, a person could have prohibited. And as Rabbi Yochanan Shakish hold, Nechasim Adam Oser, Nechasein. And say, when you say Nechasim Elu, so it's going to prohibit it even after they left your Reshut. Right? But that means it was a kavanah, was forever. When you said Nechasai, it's only as long as your properties. And therefore, you're not going to prohibit them after they left, right, your Reshut. So he comes now and he says, Umika lemandamar, lo shna nechasim u'shlo nechasai. Are you going to tell me that there's somebody that says that there's no difference between nechasim elu, right, or nechasai, my properties or these properties? So he comes and he says, why? He comes and he says, yeah, we learned in the Mishnah. Somebody that comes and tells his friend, kunam letoch betcha shani nichnas. He prohibits on himself that he doesn't want to go into his friend's house, or sadecha shani lokeach, or the property, right, that he doesn't want to purchase it, right? V'met, and he dies. Or shemecharo leacher. Here's your case, Jean Paul. He sold it to somebody else. Mutad, you're allowed to, right? So here you see that as long as it was going to be sold to someone else, it's going to be permitted. It's going to be permitted, yeah. Right? Mutad. That means he's allowed to go into the field, he's allowed to go into the house, right? Because basically this was only as long as it belonged to him, right? But if it says this house or this field, now if he died or he sold it, it's going to be asur. Because basically before it was on you, on the human being. So now that you sold it and there was a transfer of property, so now I'm allowed to. But if you say it's on the house or it's on the field, so now who do I care who? Yeah, it's forever on the, because who do I care now? Who does it belong to? But rather, when does Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish say this? Really, be'emet, Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish are talking about nechasai alecha, my properties are to you. And Rabbi Shmuel is talking about nechasim elu, these properties, not my properties, these properties. Velo pligin, there's no machlok between them. Okay, 2 dots. We said that during Shemitah you don't go into the field. What's the reasoning why you will be able to come and eat from the fruits? The payday, right? He comes and he says, right? The payday, the efker. He comes and he says, because this, right? The perot shvit of efker, right? And therefore, adanami efker. He comes and he says, right? Also, it's going to become efker. So Amar Ula comes and he says, we're talking about that, right? The ilanot are on top of the gvulim, which is on gvula sadeh. So Rabbi Shimon ben Eliakim Amar, Shimon ben Eliakim says, Gezerah Shema Yishe Ba'amidah. Really, be'emet, it's a gezerah. Maybe be'emet, right? It's going to be there for longer than a period of time. Okay, which means it's a gezerah, it's a decree. Maybe, right? It says over here, Shema Yishe Ba'amidah. So therefore he comes and he says, but maybe what's going to happen is that maybe he's going to stand there more than what he needs in order to pluck off the fruits. And therefore in such a case, the sadeh was only made hefker to eat and not more than that. So because of that, they prohibited you to go inside because of that, which means like this. You're allowed to go into the field. Can you just wander the field? You can wander the field even during Shemitah. So what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to go in, pluck something off to eat and go and get out. If you're just wandering around my field, right? That's it. You call the police. During Shemitah. Okay? During Shemitah, you're only allowed to go into a field to eat. You're not allowed to go into the field to wander. So therefore, you have enough time to go inside, pluck a fruit, and to leave. If you made a neder of ana'ah from your friend, so you're not allowed to lend him, you're not allowed to borrow from him, you're not allowed to lend him money, you're not allowed to borrow from him money. Remember, she'elah is b'derech klal with kelim, borrowing of utensils. Halva'ah is b'derech klal, usually with money. So it says, lo yashilenu, we're talking about behema u kelim, lo yishal mimenu, lo yalvenu ma'ot, velo yalve mimenu, lo yimkor lo, velo yikach mimenu. Don't sell him or don't buy from him. When Gimel Amud Aleph says the Mishnah, the Gemara just says, bishlema lo yalvenu. I understand 43a on the top, the Gemara. We're going to go into the Mishnah, and then we're going to stop this shiur. I understand that you're not going to lend him money, right? Right? Why? Because you're making him have hana. But why is it that you cannot borrow money from him? You're borrowing money from him. What is he gaining from you? You understand? It's not like you're paying interests or something like that he's gaining. So I understand you don't want him to benefit from you, so don't lend him money. Makes sense. But why can't I borrow from him? What hana does he have that I'm borrowing money from him? to come into it. I understand don't borrow from him and don't take from him, right? Because then you could say, listen, there is ana, right? Why? So for example, he comes and says that, for example, the Madid is poreat alva'a with money which is better money. So he's paying back with a better currency. Or with different types of bills which are better. But even you're going to tell me now about she'ela, which is lending, my comment on it. Imagine right now, I'm going to come in and I'm going to borrow from you a knife, and I'm going to give it back. What's the thing? I understand what's it called, money now, right? So okay, so maybe I'm going to pay you back a better currency. I'm going to give you better, newer bills that are more accepted, not the old bills. Or okay, what about killing? I'm borrowing and giving back the exact same thing.
It's not ribit. If you give me something that is more valuable,
you can give me the exact same thing. It's not that it's more valuable in value. $100 bill is $100 bill. If you're going to give me the green one, right, the newer ones or the older ones, it's like mildar, no mildar. That's not considered.
בישראל.
Yosef ben Chanina says of Yosef ben Chanina, "Gigon shenadru anam zemi zem." No, you know what the yisur was? They both made yisurim of hana. So each one is making a yisur for nada, and that's why they're not allowed to buy from each other, lend to each other, rent from each other, borrow from each other. Abai comes and he says another answer. Gezerah lishol mishum lehashil. Lechem bechulu b'gezerah. Says no. The gezerah to borrow is because maybe to lend. Meaning if you're going to borrow from him, and we're going to permit that because technically there was no yisur on it, but maybe then afterwards you're going to lend it to him, and that was an yisur. Or in the other cases also was the same thing because of a gezerah.